Hi, welcome back to the channel, Soul Family. This is the Womb Goddess. My name is Susanna Sun, bringing through messages of peace and energy updates for the Divine Collective. We are looking today to see where we're at, what we're experiencing, and what messages can support us in our ascension journeys. I'm going to pull from the Rider-Waite Tarot first to give us a little update about where we're currently at. So we have the Two of Swords, first of all, as this very decisive, clear, sharp part of ourselves really coming through for this current experience. It's funny because I saw a helicopter outside flying past, and then I just looked again, and the same helicopter had just turned around. So it's like we know what we want, but then we're changing our mind at the same time, and kind of like scanning possibilities, you could say. And at the same time, there is a clarity about that because we do know what it is that we deserve, but sometimes we have to kind of backtrack to double check and see if there was any mistakes or places where we were indecisive in the past, or where maybe we made a decision and we felt really certain about it, but then in retrospect we look backwards and realize that there really was something there that we weren't willing to look at originally. So let me know if you're relating to that message of knowing something. Of course, the nose itches come when there's something really potent there. Knowing something, but not having our past necessarily line up accurately with what we currently know, and so needing to backtrack in order to double check our decisions and rectify anything that might not have been working. We have 44 from the Whispers of Love Oracle deck there. I love this one. This 44, which adds up to 8, so it's about the self, firstly, but 44 is also a builder number, so very much about foundation and stability, which I really see compatible with that Two of Swords, where we have that decisiveness to make things very precise. The foundation has to be really, really precise in order for it to be accurate. If there's one corner of the house that's on sandy ground, it will sink, and then the entire house becomes lopsided, right? So all four corners have to be really strong. So a few images coming through here. Firstly, I do see, excuse me, the sea god here. Neptune with his underworld goddess. I think this is relevant to the solstice as well, because with the Persephone version of the story, where the woman goes through this rebirth experience, and first she has to go into the underworld, which is a reference to the inner world, the inner depths, the shadow worlds. And when she comes back up to the surface, as in springtime with the sun rising and solstice being the days where she's on the surface the longest, she's still enjoying this love relationship during that process. The words say get to know each other, learning to meet each other's need for love is important for a relationship to grow. I'm hearing about the love languages, which is a quite common topic, of course, as we understand that people receive love in different ways from each other. So we do need to understand how the other person in this situation, whether that's family or friends or professional relationships or love relationships, that we need to understand how that other person receives so that we can offer them what it is that they most desire so that they can feel that love. The other side of that story that's less talked about, but I find really relevant, is learning how to receive love in the way that the person wants to give it as well, rather than rejecting it because it's not the way that we wanted it to be. The other image that I was seeing here that seemed relevant is this seahorse, which represents to me a reversal of the masculine and feminine polarity. So you might be noticing yourself kind of oscillating between the different sides of yourself, the feminine receptive and the masculine more dominant forward action movement oriented, and kind of coming to understand which side you really want to live in for which parts of the relationship, and not so much attaching ourselves to whatever culturally conditioned ideas we might have about those gender roles. So giving ourselves permission to kind of work it for us rather than having ourselves work ourselves into those boxes. But the box is a relevant part of the conversation because of that number of the 4 that is the square. And of course, there are these sort of predetermined concepts that we can fall back on in terms of tradition or lineage, or even with your career. You could talk about the lineage of the career, where you can rely on people before you who have created something. And in terms of relationship, it's also relying on this container of security and safety that you are building and you're creating for yourself. So knowing what those boundaries are that allow us to play freely within that space without fear of crossing a boundary without realizing that it was there, because you already have those boundaries clearly defined. For example, I already know what my partner likes to receive the most in terms of love, and they already know how you like to give that love, and so you're able to both give and receive equally, which is the definition of unconditional love. And that is, of course, what we are looking for, what we are creating, and our main mission as divine beings to bring more love into this planet, which does require us to receive it, not just to be giving it. So if you're somebody who feels like you've been giving a lot of love, but you haven't been receiving it, then you are actually in a state of being imbalanced, and that is not unconditional. So the balancing out of that energy requires us to step into a receptive role as well. Let me know if you relate to this message. Do you know where you're at in terms of those archetypes of giving and receiving? Do you tend to be more in the receptive role or more in the offering role? And is it accurate to your essence, or is there maybe an imbalance there of your receptive energies being suppressed, perhaps, which is quite common? Let me know in the comments, and also let me know if you have any questions about this topic or any other topics that are currently relevant for you, and we can bring them into the messages moving forward. As usual, I also have availability for personal sessions if you want to dive in. I am a trauma-informed somatic and energy therapist, and I would love to support you. That is why I'm here. Thank you so much for listening to this message, for supporting, subscribing, commenting. All of it really helps me to build this platform so that I can share these messages with the collective and support the mission of bringing more love into this planet. Thank you so much. Many blessings.